What's up? Hey, people. How y'all doing? I was told that it's cool to be late, you know, fashionably late, and since I don't do much with my wardrobe, I thought maybe I could compensate for that with some tactical 1 minute delays to my stream starting time. Um I'm not gonna waste your time, people. I still have a bit of a cough, and I also have a headache now, so yay. So we're gonna see how long I can last, okay? My apologies, you know. I do love streaming. When I have a day where I don't stream, usually I'm just despondently sad the entire time. You know, I live to spend time with you guys. You're all like my the kids from a divorced marriage, from an ended marriage that I get to visit on the weekends, okay? Except instead of the weekends, it's basically every day. But, you know. Hello, this is my first stream. Hello there, Memento Hermando. I'm delighted to hear that. Whew. Yep. All right. How y'all doing? Same to you, too, Hiji Blast. Oh man, we've got so much to talk about. We have to talk about we have to talk about we have to talk about Ben Shapiro. We have to talk about election fraud. We have to talk about so goddamn much. Jesus Christ. And though it's going to be a little later on in the stream, I'm finally going to give my recommendations for what any of you should do if you're interested in creating content yourself. Because I get emails asking me that, like, fuck me, every single day. So, and I keep saying I'm going to do it eventually. So I'll do that. Give my, you know, my best offer. Yes, I heard Corbyn may have been reinstated, so we might have more to talk about in the near future, so that'll be fun. How's my day going today? Pretty okay. I'd say pretty okay. Still no gun stream? I'm not going to a fucking range with COVID. Are you fucking kidding me? Even in Seattle, the type of people to go to a range are still the doorknob licking types. I'm not going over there. Jesus Christ. Even if I brought my own guns, they would give me, you know, they would hand over the ammunition and it would be like slimy from all the fucking hands that have taught it, you know, that have touched it, you know? Why have streams been so late in the day lately? Because I wake up every morning coughing with a headache. Media analysis / critique on D Live? Nope, not today. How do you feel about British people? You know, it's rough. It's rough out there. In Range TV said they'd like to talk about guns when they were in YouTube chat once. Why do these people never email me? Yeah. Well, let me do my own goddamn gun stream first. Besides, don't you guys want me to do a gun, not a gun stream, sorry, a gun video? Like, go to a range and film it? You guys can make fun of my accuracy. It's been a really long time since I've actually been to a range, so I used to be a decent shot. I don't even remember the numbers, but at 20 yards, I could usually get it within, like, the inner or second to innermost ring. I'm not, like, a gun-obsessed person. I don't know, like, all the technical terminology, but I could usually get a decent, decent job. But it's been a while, so I'm probably back to, probably back to not knowing shit. Minute of angle? I don't fucking remember. I wasn't doing this, okay? With a pistol or a rifle? A pistol. I don't think I've ever used a rifle at a range. Because back when I used to go to the range more often, I didn't have guns, so I would rent the guns, and the cheaper guns were, of course, you know, the ones that use small ammunition and so on. What pistol do you use? You mean back at the range? I don't fucking know. Here, hold on. Camera, don't you disagree with me now? Oh yeah, before we get started, check this out. Look. We got a nice figurine. Y'all seen Premiere? Look at that. Isn't that sick? Some weeb-ass shit. It's good. It feels good. It's heavy, too. Yeah, there's the Premiere Femboy of 2019. Who is that and is he gay? Yes and yes. Yes and true. Correct and affirmative. Is Kakyoin gay? Didn't Kakyoin want to fuck Jotaro's mom? Probably not then. Who's better, Space Wolves or White Scars? Space Wolves. Actually, Vaush, his sexuality is never openly stated. Listen. Yeah, Kakyoin is bi, yeah. Yeah, more masculine than Ben. All right. All right, people. Folks, I'd like to take you all on a gender expression odyssey, if you're so inclined. So, Vogue magazine recently published a shoot over here with Harry Styles, and as you can see, he's wearing well, that's a dress. I don't know what this would be, like a coat robe? Well, whatever the case is, it's high fashion, okay? Good stuff. Personally, I think it looks great. In spite of him being British, I'd say this is pretty decent W, you know? But this made some people confused and angry, okay? So if we back up one level, we go all the way back to Candace Owens, with even more likes than the actual photo shoot. There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men, at the same time Marxism is being taught to our children, is not a coincidence. It's an outright attack. Bring back manly men. So there are so many things that I want to say. I'm going to have to go through this point by point and trust that most of you can keep up with me, okay? First of all, the nebulous they trying to feminize men here is indistinguishable from the Nazi Jewish question conspiracy theory, because they also believe that the Jews are deliberately trying to demasculinize men in an effort to destabilize Western families, which they can then use to destroy the white race. So, I mean, this is point for point identical. Oh, fix the screen scratch? That's why I had the, here, hold on. Transform. Stretch the screen. There we go. I had it stretched. So that's one. Okay, that's point number one. Okay? Second of all, why the fuck would you ever cite the East as a positive example of masculine? You do realize that in the East, they wore, like, more flowing robes and dresses traditionally than we do. Okay, first of all, K-pop is a thing, okay? And K-pop is as close you can get to androgyny, I think, in, like, modern media. And additionally, the traditional outfits for, like, the Japanese were kimonos. They wore robes, and the robes that men wore were like, for women too, like, they wore very similar. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm simplifying a little bit here. I'm not a fucking anthropological expert for Japan or anything like that. But trust me, I've been to Japan. You know, okay? They don't have this weird obsession with hypermasculinity over there. Their idols and their pop stars tend to be pretty fucking feminine compared to, like, men over here in the West. You know, and they don't have this cultural fixation with masculinity in the same way that we do. Not to say they don't have it at all. Because they do have their own weird gender role shit. But if you look at like a dude in a dress and your first thought is the samurai of the East would have never permitted this femininity, then you're completely lost, my dude. You're completely fucking lost. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Anyway, and then implying that Marxism being taught to our children has anything to do with the feminization of men. Do you know what Marx looked like? Do you know what all of the fucking old theorists look like? Like, what do you... It's not like Catboy Central over here. Like, if you look back on, like, Marxists... The funny thing is that the society is most influenced by Marxism, hold on, actually had extremely masculine, like, archetypal characteristics that they would reinforce through propaganda. Have you ever seen Soviet propaganda? Have you ever seen Chinese, like, a Maoist era propaganda? The men, what you know, the old Chinese man, Russian man, yeah, these fucking guys. Like, the Soviet Union and Mao's China were both heavily about promoting typical masculinity, except for this. I mean, they're a gay couple, but that's as masculine as you can get, really. And these societies were literally built off Marxism. Now, I'm not a fan of these societies or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, dude. Candace Owens, like, so the ultimate masculinity can be found in the East with their K-pop and kimonos, and Marxism is responsible for feminizing men today, except the most well-known societies based off Marxist ideas were highly, highly obsessed with the masculine archetype. So I don't know Oh, I have a theory. What if Candace Owens has no fucking idea what she's talking about? I didn't say it. Maybe it's entirely possible that that's the direction. You know, that's maybe, possibly. I do like tweets like this, though, because it's like the Jordan Peterson type stuff. These tweets are supposed to appeal to deeply, deeply insecure people. I hope you all know that. These tweets aren't supposed to appeal to, like, the average American. It's supposed to be young men who feel as though something has been taken from them, a sense of entitlement, masculinity, feminine appreciation, whatever. And they see shit like this, and they're supposed to think, yeah, well, they're not going to take me. It's essentially like the TradCon equivalent of being a nice guy. It's usually very deeply sad people who latch on to stuff like this. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real, dude. If you see like pictures of a guy in like a dress and your first response is to bemoan the death of the West, your internal like barometer for life and priorities is completely fucked. You are so lost. It is unbelievable. You're so weak too. Like, people get upset looking at this. I mean, if you don't want to like jerk off to it, that's fine. Nobody's forcing you to jerk off to it. But like, to project some kind of civilizational narrative. It's an old narrative too. You've heard it before. It's the strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong men cycle, right? The completely ahistorical, like, meme anthropological theory that has no basis or backing whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's like, I swear to God, that cycle or that like belief is like the 18-year-old wannabe history major equivalent of live, laugh, love. You know, it's an empty stereotype, and it says more about the person who has it than it does society. It's pretty fucking dumb. Especially since, I mean, again, if we want to go back, like, what do tradcons worship, you know, like in Western society? Isn't it like pre-Enlightenment shit? I mean, how far back do you have to go, right? Do you know what the old... do you know what the old monarchs dressed like? Like... I mean... like... here we go, dude. I wish to return. I reject modernity, and I embrace the hyper-masculinity of the old era. Yeah, heels were initially made for men. We can go back as far as we want. I mean... Oh, King Henry the 87th. Yes, the well-known. We can go back as far as we want, dude. Famous, powerful men have been wearing poncy fucking dresses for literally hundreds of years, dude. Like, go back even further. How do you think the Romans dressed? Like, Roman men's clothing. Dude, these motherfuckers were out here, like, fucking... The Roman men wore dresses so they could hike them up their ass to get fucked faster. Like, look at this shit. I guarantee you, if Henry Styles had dressed in any of these, like, traditional fucking Roman or, like, Greek outfits or something... Wait, I'm sorry, really quickly. Okay, here's men. Here's women. Can you explain the difference to me? The terrible fucking... Oh, Harry Styles, sorry. We just looked at Henry VIII, so... Like, can you explain what the difference is to me? Color... The difference is that these ones have facial hair and these ones don't. If you can see, there's more robust breasts in the dude, there's no fucking difference. Look, they all have like underclothing that's tight, and then they have an outer layer they wear over that. They all look fashionable as fuck. Like, dude, they're togas, they're robes, they're basically agender. If you go back far enough, dude, right now, today in America, we basically have the most sexually dimorphic fashion styles, like, ever, okay? Like, right now. If you go to other parts of the world, there is way more variance. If you go to Southeast Asia, if you go to India, even if you go to more traditional clothing, go look at traditional clothing of Europeans. Seriously, here, wait, hold on. Poland Traditional clothing. If you look at the traditional clothing for many European countries, you'll find that they wear very similar clothing. Is this like a Halloween's costume? I can't tell if this is a Halloween costume. They look like pretty fucking similar. I guess the girl's skirt comes down lower. Like, it's all bombastic, colorful, flowy shit. Most traditional clothing is like that. It is very specifically here today in America in the past couple hundred years that our traditional by the way, what's traditional American clothing? I don't even know if that's a thing. But like the men wear the suits and jackets, and then the women wear the dresses. This is a very modern specific aesthetic, you know? Probably the height of sexual dimorphism for clothing in like all of antiquity, all of history. You can probably find it in 1950s America. Seriously, okay? Women don't wear pants, they wear dresses and skirts, and they get shot at the beach if they show ankle, okay? And men wear fucking denims, and they wear suits every single time. Anytime a man leaves the house, they have to wear a suit, and that's it, okay? And that's it. So this idea that, like, Western civilization is on the precipice of destruction... Ah, yeah, here we go. Louis. Yes, he was considered a very, very masculine man back in his day, you know? Look at this fucking guy! Look at this fucking guy. Look! Fucking stocking and platform... Look at this shit. Reject modernity. Return to tradition with your giant fucking flowing... This guy was considered very masculine for his time. Yeah, he has fucking shoe ribbons. He has shoe ribbons. Frankly, he's even adopting a feminine pose. Look at him. His feet are together. They're planted unevenly, and he's showing off his legs and ass. This is a feminine pose. If I As somebody who's read a lot of comics, we tend to draw the way women and men stand very differently. And if I wanted to draw a woman and present them in a feminine way, I would draw her like this, okay? I would draw her with her legs and calves prominently positioned, her feet in an unsteady position, her ass implied. Like, this is precisely what I would do, you know? So again, this narrative that, like, we're destroying Western society with... This is incredibly stupid, but we're not even done talking about this, okay? We're not even done talking about this, okay? By the way, the myth, chat just reminded me, the myth that having hot fucking sexy legs is a feminine thing, don't believe that bullshit, okay? That's fed to you by them in the media, okay? Men's legs can be fucking good as shit, all right? I've got really nice legs. I'm sure a lot of you do too, okay? Don't be ashamed of that shit. Also, knee-length shorts are ugly as shit, okay? If you're wearing shorts, those fuckers need to come halfway down to your thigh. Don't care what your gender is. Don't care what your sex is. That's where it needs to go, okay? The faster we can adopt this norm as a culture, the faster we can fucking move to the space age, okay? Because we are being held back massively, massively by the knee-length shorts, okay? Only knee-length shorts are acceptable are like high-fashion fucking pull-up cuff flowy ones, okay? Or maybe like those really poofy ones, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Like the poofy ones where it like cuts off at the knee and then you have like these big poofs. You know what I mean? I'm not a fashion guy. I don't, yeah. But anyway, we're not even close to being done with this bullshit, okay? Because Candace Owens, wrong again, then got responded to by none other than Ben Shapiro. Give it a look. This is perfectly obvious. Anyone who pretends that it is not a referendum on masculinity for men to don floofy dresses treating you as a full-on idiot. Masculinity and femininity exist. Outward indicators of masculinity and femininity exist in nearly every human culture. Boys are taught to be more masculine in virtually every human culture because of the role of men is not always the same as the role of women. Well, that's tautological if I ever heard it. Boys are taught to be more masculine because men are different than women. What does that mean? If you think masculinity is what men are, then naturally, by the nature of the transitive property of masculinity, men would be... Anyway, the left knows this, of course. The point of Styles doing this photo shoot is to feminize masculinity. Otherwise, why would it be headline-worthy for Styles to don a dress? The left knows this. They openly say that gender is both important and socially constructed, which is why they tell you a man can be a woman, e.g., despite no biological underpinning. All right, so There are actually so many internal contradictions in this that it's fucking hilarious. First of all, Ben Shapiro actually got trending for this, which is great because anytime a right-wing pundit goes trending, it's because they did something stupid. So it's really like consistently funny. Yes, Karl Marx is trending under K-pop. There's a reason for that, and I'm aware of the reason, but I won't explain it now because we're doing a segment. Thank you. Anyway, there are so many things that I love here. First of all, love the fact that Ben Shapiro pretends to be a libertarian when he clearly is culturally opposed to the presentation. I thought that Ben Shapiro was a libertarian, so he should be in favor of businesses presenting anything that they believe makes them money. Vogue magazine got 75,000 likes in this tweet, so there's obviously some interest in this material. I thought Ben Shapiro would be celebrating their belief and adherence to whatever material best raises the stock price of their shares, but obviously not. Ben Shapiro has some higher cultural imperative. It's always interesting with these right libertarians, right? There's always they like corporations when it comes to like being able to feed your children and stuff. They don't want to tax them too high. But whenever it comes to social issues that have nothing to do with libertarianism, they always have some sort of higher cultural obligation which inclines them to be exactly the same as any other fucking conservative. That's interesting, right? You know, libertarian except during times of moral outrage, which is all the time, constantly, always with the moral outrage, you know? This is the point we're at right now. We're dealing with massive accusations of election fraud, COVID-19, and the world's on fire, and Ben Shapiro is over here ranting and raving about the tyranny of men being put in dresses. Well, here's a fact of the matter, Ben, and anybody else. First of all, as a libertarian, you have no right to complain about this. Second of all, even if you did feel some sort of discomfort with it, if you genuinely believe masculinity is so fragile that it can be destroyed by a fucking photo shoot, then your ideas aren't worth defending at all. Oh yeah, thank you, Rational Disconnect. You're always coming in good. Ah yes, the highly masculine East. Oh, look at that. Oh, I can feel my fucking testosterone just flooding my endorphins. Ugh. Look at that, dude. Holy shit, based and testosterone pilled over here. Oh my god. These chads with the pencil-thin mustache. Was it shaved that way, or I don't know. I don't care. Very good. Very, very, very good. I love it. But anyway, you can go back further. Ben Shapiro actually talked about this for like 20 fucking minutes on his show.
Let's assume for a second the honesty of some folks on the left who at least acknowledge that femininity and masculinity exist. They also have indicators, outward indicators. Dress has been, for virtually all time and in virtually all cultures, an outward indicator, which is why the Bible explicitly says that it is against cross-dressing.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is really funny. Is this a picture of Candace Owens wearing what is typically considered to be men's clothing in a sexually provocative manner without any shirt underneath, such as to expose a portion of her breast? Interesting. As an aficionado of religious traditionalism, just like Candace Owens, I personally think that this sexual proclivity, it's very unbecoming to a defender of the West. I don't know. It's very weird wearing men's clothing, not wearing anything underneath it. Jesus, I can feel my family values being destroyed with every second that I look at this. It reminds me of how Lauren Southern would make videos and how the true role of all women is to like focus on your family and have a kid, but she was doing this while being like a single YouTube star, you know what I mean? I think Lauren got married though, right? So I guess she eventually self-corrected on that, but there are other people who do basically the same thing.
For example. Okay, but in virtually every culture, men and women dress differently. This does not mean that all men dress the same and all women in all cultures dress the same. It means that in every culture, there is a distinction between how men dress and how women dress. The stupidest form of the argument that I saw yesterday online was, well, in Scotland, they wear kilts. That means that a man in America wearing a skirt, a floofy skirt, is the same as a man in Scotland wearing a kilt.
Well, kilts are basically just skirts, so yeah, I mean, they're like a style of skirt, but yeah.
No, because they also distinguish between how men wear clothes and women wear clothes in Scotland, too. It's just that men wear different clothes than men in America.
So wait, what if a Scottish guy came to America wearing a kilt and he went out with an American woman who wore pants? Wait, is he saying that there's no there can't be any cross contamination here? Wait, women wear skirts in Scotland too. Wait, what is he talking about? Does he think women can't wear pants? He probably does.
It's the most idiotic thing. People are like, well, yeah, back in Roman times, men wore togas. You understand? Those were basically just dresses. Yes.
Oh, shit. He's calling me out.
And women wore a different form of clothing. At the time, women and men were distinguishable by dress. They have always been distinguishable by dress in virtually every human culture.
Again, no. With togas, they're really pretty sex neutral. I mean, there are types of togas, and I imagine that at times certain types were more fashionable than other types. But no. So the argument that he's making right now is that there is some inviolate existential necessity for men and for women to be identifiable by differences in clothing. Except both men and women today wear jeans and t-shirts. Right now. Right now, we do that. Women tend to wear different types of jeans. No, women tend to wear tighter jeans, which are fashionable with a lot of guys now, too. Not just crazy skinny jeans or whatever. When I wear jeans, I wear that flex comfort shit. You think I'm out there in pure fucking denim? Like some sort of fucking degenerate ready to die in a coal mine? You fucking kidding me? If I go out and I'm wearing jeans, you think I'm going to fucking wear some 150-year-old tech? Fuck no. I'm wearing hyper-synthesized fibers that accommodate every fucking bulge of my dong, okay? I'm not wearing some goddamn fucking original jeans. I'm wearing the same shit women wear. Are my shirts bigger? I mean, I don't know. I'm probably bigger than a lot of girls. But, like, these are the same clothes. Right now, these are the same clothes. So where is this coming from? He actually seems like offended at the idea of men and women being able to wear the same clothing. And mind you, even if Ben was correct in asserting that in every culture throughout history, men and women have worn distinct clothing, which is not the case, and becomes less the case the further back you go in time, especially with young people, because, yeah, young people all used to be dressed like girls. I've talked about that on stream before, but it's true. You know, originally, the term boy was only applied to young men after the age of like 6 or 7 or 8, and lady was applied to young women under the age of 6, 7, or 8. But babies or like little humans between like 0 and 6, they were all called girls, and they were all put in dresses. It was only after there started to be some distinctive characteristics between boys and girls that they separated. Yeah, and girl became a term for feminine young people, and then boy got shifted down to refer to more masculine young people. But that's true. That's completely true. This myth of like this incredibly rigid clothing, gender segmented binary, it's just not true. But people like Ben Shapiro will try to tell you it's true, not because they give a fuck about history. Ben Shapiro knows nothing about history. He doesn't give a single shit about it. He cares about promoting conservative traditional values, which in practice means getting really, really, really angry when men wear dresses.
And noting that men wore floofier stuff in the 16th century in Britain does not change the fact that women wore completely different clothing in the 16th century in Britain. Right? This is a category error, you morons.
What point does he think he's trying to make right now?
To suggest that because men wore something like a kilt in Scotland, that if you transferred over to America would look more feminine. Therefore, a man wearing a skirt in America in 2020 is just the same in the male-female paradigm as a man wearing a kilt in Scotland in 1590 is insane and idiotic and ridiculous on its face, and we all know that.
So if that's the case, does Ben Shapiro have any issue with men wearing dresses and women wearing jeans? Does Ben Shapiro have an issue with that? Because it seems he only cares about them being some sort of distinction between men's clothing and women's clothing. If his issue isn't the fact that men's clothing used to be what we would consider to be quite feminine, then what is he even arguing about? Notice how angry he is, by the way. He doesn't get angry like this about anything else. You know, 250,000 people dead of COVID, rolls off his back, you know, whatever. Police brutality, But men wearing dresses, whew, best not step to the Ben. He's coming in angry.
Hey, pretending that men dressing like women is not about feminizing men is ridiculous. because they are overtly celebrating the fact that Styles is feminizing masculinity.
How is Styles feminizing masculinity by wearing a dress? How does him wearing a dress affect all masculinity? Wouldn't it just be him wearing feminine clothing? What? How does that attack the entirety of masculinity? Again, libertarian conservative, except don't you dare question my arbitrary and ahistorical social roles.
So this is all a big gaslighting effect, right?
That is not what gaslighting means. Nice try. Oh yeah, and then of course we have the memes with Ben Shapiro looking like this, defending traditional masculinity, and Styles looking like this, and so on. And of course Hassan gets in on the fun. And it all comes together. And I think so the initial reaction here that I think is really, really, really tempting is to make fun of Ben Shapiro for being like short and feminine, which he is. I mean, by archetypical standards, he's like a soft-handed, poncy, violin-playing, 5'3", nasally child boy man. So none of these are like archetypically masculine characteristics. I don't really have a problem with making fun of people for stuff like that if they're being hypocritical. It's like with Jordan Peterson and his benzo addiction. Do I make fun of people for being addicted? No, substance abuse is terrible. Well, I make fun of Jordan Peterson for going on a grift for years, talking about how only people who have attained inner enlightenment can actually affect the world, because otherwise you're too fucked up to be able to make any points with regards to politics. And then it turns out he's been addicted to benzos the entire time. Well, I mean, kind of brought that on himself, didn't he? There, Anyway, the immediate temptation here, I think, is to make fun of Ben Shapiro. I really just think that the more resoundingly effective response is shit like this, though. Thanks, Hassan. I appreciate it. Because, like, man, these people get way too fucking up in arms about this shit, don't they? Can you imagine being a political commentator and caring about stuff like this? Like, can you actually fathom? Like, actually imagine it for a moment, if you will. Imagine waking up one day with the doomsday clock so close to midnight, with climate change on the precipice. Imagine COVID-19 killing 250,000 Americans. Unprecedented rejection of electoral norms, with the president refusing to concede an election he lost. And then you wake up one day and you get angry because a fashion model wore a dress. Look, if you're a young guy and you're insecure about your masculinity or whatever, look, I think everyone's been there. Well, everybody who's masculine, every guy, whatever. I feel like a lot of people have been in that position, and that's totally fine. But man, you are not going to like reclaim some ancestral might by rejecting dress wearing, okay? It reminds me of No Nut November. Happy 17th of November, by the way. Where people say that like, oh yeah, I haven't come in 15 days and already I can feel my bestial strength coming out anytime I smell the period blood from the women who walk by me. You've seen like posts like that before, right? You've seen posts like that before, right? I definitely have. And like the NoFap subreddit or whatever, they think there's some like deep masculinity or some like deep internal primordial masculinity they're recovering by not nutting for a while. No, there are people like that. Yeah. No, I'm not joking. You think that I'm making fun of like 5 people. There are legitimately like a fuck ton of people who think this, They try to cover it up with the memes. They're like, oh yeah, if you don't nut for 30 days, you turn into a wizard. And with that, they're memeing, but they're doing the memes to cover up the real insane belief, which is that they actually are reclaiming some kind of masculinity by not nutting for a while, okay? The memes are a hide for the NoFap is mostly Nazis too. Yeah, no shit! Because NoFap and Nazism both appeal to insecure, emasculated young men. Obviously. Okay? Porn addiction does have negative consequences, and abstaining for a while is healthy, but some people go too far with the meme sauce. NoFap has very little to do with porn addiction, and has everything to do with reclaiming some like lost sense of masculinity at this point, at least with regards to the community. But if you guys are doing it for fun, go for it. I'm not doing that shit, not in a fucking busy ass month like this. Look, The point that I'm getting at here is that you're not like bolstering your masculinity by rejecting shit like this, okay? If you want to go around wearing a fucking vest and jacket and tie and fedora tipping at people in some sort of hyper masculine way, you fucking go for it, my dude, okay? That's your goddamn right, okay? That's your goddamn right as an American citizen. But for fuck's sake, dude, every time there's one of these controversies about like Marxism destroying masculinity by feminizing men, you are identical to all the fucking satanic panic moms of the 1980s. You are every bit as cringy, every bit as delusional, every bit as distant from reality as the fucking moms who would run into their little boy's room looking for porn mags and rock and roll CDs, tossing them out and then sending them off to fucking Bible school, okay? You are identical to those people, and those people were fucking lunatics. You are not fucking punk rock by preventing or getting mad at men who wear dresses. You are not counterculture. You are the literal fucking archetypical definition of the insecure dude trying to control other people's masculinity to make you feel better about yourself. You know what the most masculine thing you can do is? Are you guys ready for it? This is the most masculine shit that you can do, okay? Whatever the fuck you want. Unironically, okay? Fucking freedom, free will, that shit's considered archetypically masculine, isn't? Have you ever watched an anime? Have you ever watched Gurren Lagann? He's all like, the soul of the masculine spirit that spirals through my heart tells me that I will not accept this. I will fight. Like, that's fucking anime for you, right? It's considered feminine to just accept things the way they are. I'm not saying that that's a good or a bad thing. It's not. I think that these are all fairly arbitrary social standards. But if you really want to adhere to masculinity, do whatever the fuck you want, okay? Who's more masculine, okay? I'll ask you, who the fuck is more masculine, all right? The fucking yeehaw pickup truck rowdy boy who falls asleep every night crying because he knows he's never going to hit peak like he did in fucking junior year of high school when it looked like he might be able to go state after he made it to college, but then a knee injury took him out. Or a fucking femboy who wears knee-high socks every time they go to the gas station to buy their fucking daily coffee so they can wake up quickly enough to go stream on fucking Twitch TV, okay? Which, unironically, I think that the ability to do whatever the fuck you want and not care about what other people have to say about it is one of the most valuable characteristics, as long as you're not harming other people. But that's the lie they tell you, that you are harming other people by being feminine if you're a guy, or masculine if you're a girl, or whatever. But here's the thing, you're fucking not, okay? There was a guy I had on stream recently, and it was the Tim Pool fan, and he seemed really concerned about feminizing men because it like might hurt the guys. Why not just let people do what they want, you know? Like, if a guy wants to be masculine, then they'll go for it, right? And if they want to be feminine, they'll go for it, right? Like, why not just let people do what they want, you know? Doesn't hurt anyone else. If they go feminine and like their life is worse for it, that's their right. I don't know how it would be, but that's their fucking right. Also, just, I didn't used to think this way, but I've grown a little bit older now, and I've seen like old high school friends and how they've progressed. And I have to say, and this is just my anecdotal experience, but maybe you guys have had similar sort of feelings. The guys who clung the hardest to masculinity had the most problems to deal with when they got older, when they got out of high school or college. They had like this weird self-perception that had to do with like dominance and control. But the moment they got thrown into life proper, which we have no real control over, not properly, they had this deep existential crisis. And some of them turned to drugs and alcohol. Some of them turned into abusive pieces of shit. Some of them learned from the experience and grow. But very few of these people obsessed with masculinity, obsessed with posturing and machismo, very few of these people just entered life and were fine for it, you know? I don't know. I don't know. It's fucking weird, okay? We all need to chill a little bit, okay? That's my personal preference, okay? We need to chill. There's still dumb fucks into middle-aged men. I know them personally. Yeah, it's just sad. I just want you guys to be happy, okay? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that too. Lil Nas X. Lil Nas is gay, right? I haven't heard any of the songs. I know nothing about anything. I just think that he's funny on Twitter. But is it Nas? Is Nas, sorry. Lil Nas dresses flamboyantly. Incredibly fashionable guy, by the way. And every once in a while, there's some controversy because somebody will quote tweet it, and they'll be like, "You're destroying black youth with your..." Dude, nobody's childhood gets destroyed because there are feminine people on Twitter that post pictures of them in dresses or whatever, okay? Nobody's kids are harmed. I'll tell you whose kids are harmed. Your own fucking kids. If they want to be feminine or wear a dress or whatever and still be a guy and you're like shit-talking them or telling them that's wrong, you're the one hurting the kid, okay? That's on you, dude. No kid is hurt by looking on TV and seeing people with stubble wearing a dress. That doesn't hurt anyone. Maybe like it makes you uncomfortable, but I don't give a fuck about you. It doesn't hurt anyone. Your offense isn't, your feelings are irrelevant to me, you know? Being offended isn't an argument. And that's what they are. And that's what they all are. Ben Shapiro is offended. Candace Owens is offended. They're hurt. Emotionally. But I don't care. Because the fact is, guys wearing dresses don't hurt anyone. Simple as that. All right, good show, people. We did it. We defeated gender standards. Wear a dress right now. I don't think I have any that would fit me. Also, no, thank you. Any other of my Chad fucking Seattle area boys coming out here today? It sure has been storming today, hasn't it? We had some fucking horizontal rain slamming against the windows. Yeah. Don't you get testosterone from what? If you don't come for like a little bit, I think it like slightly raises test levels, but not like for a month. It's more like if you don't come for a couple of days. Semen doesn't just grow in your balls until your balls explode. It gets recycled into your body. These no-nut people sound like that guy from fucking Dr. Strangelove, remember? The guy who said that he denies women his essence. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right? He was like, I fuck women, but I deny them my precious essence. He uses the plugger. You guys know the plugger? No Nut Boys are all in middle school? No, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of, like, not old, but, like, adult men who get into this, you know? Wait, no middle school boy would ever go No Nut November. Are you fucking kidding me? What is this? I literally had a roommate who talked about how he was in good health because he never came. That is deranged. That is absolutely deranged. I can't fathom, dude. When I hear about people talk about how they never masturbate, it sounds to me like the fucking masturbatory equivalent of like a fucking anorexic person. It sounds like some weird shit. You know what I mean? Or like they'll chew food but then spit it out or so. I have no idea. It feels really weird to me. Also, I'm pretty sure it prevents prostate cancer, yeah. They want to be monks, yeah. They want to achieve the monastic power. Oh, do we have some cringe from Charlie Kirk? I love cringe from Charlie Kirk. Wow, this guy looks disheveled as fuck. Holy shit. Wait, hold on. Damn, dude, look at him. Look at him. Holy shit. He looks like more disheveled than I do right now. He's got like the... Is this what it feels like to lose an election? Is it just like sapping his life force? What's going on?
The left has always hated Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving can be interpreted as a religious holiday if you believe in giving thanks to a creator.
Yeah, I think most people celebrate it pretty non-religious. I don't think, like, you can make anything into a religious holiday. I think generally speaking, because I have religious family members, I think most people just treat it as like a family get-together thing, you know? Yeah. Yeah, it's not really a religious holiday. I mean, you can make, dude, evangelical families will make religion out of anything, but yeah.
But they hate Thanksgiving because they believe there is nothing you should be thankful for in America. This is an awful place. It is cancerous.
No. They don't like Thanksgiving because the lore of Thanksgiving, the sort of holiday myth, kind of whitewashes the whole genocide thing, but that's it. No, so he's projecting a little bit here. Guys, maybe this is just me and I'm the odd one out. Do you guys actually think of Thanksgiving as a holiday about giving thanks? Or do you guys just think of it as a family holiday? Yeah, most of you are saying no, I assume, to the first thing. Yeah, it's like a family holiday. Like family and food, yeah. I mean, sometimes during Thanksgiving, I'll say a couple of things that I'm thankful for, but it's more like a formality. Like, I'll be like, hey, well, I'm thankful my family's here, and I'm thankful that I'm still healthy, and that's it. Like, it's not, like, I don't really talk about it that much, you know? The authoritarian right is obsessed with the concept of penitence, you know? You mere mortals, you peasant Americans, it's important that at all times you be eternally thankful for the gift you've been given, for being able to live in this country.
Rotten to the core, tear it all down, burn it from within. Why would you be thankful? Instead, we need a revolution.
I don't think that the left's relationship with Thanksgiving has anything to do with revolution, but I agree with the sentiment, so thank you.
Remember.
Wait, what was that? Is he really getting all these talking points from a tablet right next to him? He can't even remember this? Look.
Remember.
I do this, but I'm a fucking live streamer in my studio. This is the computer I play video games at. He's like a major media figure. What is he looking at here?
Remember, as the Students for Democratic Society radicals once wrote in the 1960s.
Oh, okay. He's got a quote here. Okay.
They said, conflict is the origin of everything.
Hey, based critical theory. True.
Happens when you're thankful? By definition, you're less likely to be involved and engaged in conflict.
True. Wait, he actually got it correct. That's actually completely true. He has reinforced my belief. Yeah. That authoritarians are obsessed with penitence because the more time you spend thankful for something, the less time you spend questioning it. Wait, I was completely correct. He actually I thought I was just giving like a little side assertion thing. He actually completely validated my premise there. Yeah. These people want you to be thankful because thankful people don't ask questions. That's why they demand you worship the country, you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, you praise the flag, because the more time you spend wrapped up in this ritual, this ceremonial, ritualistic adulation of the country, the less time you spend questioning it. They don't want you to think. They just want you to silently just be happy you're here. That's why they'll say stuff all the time. How many times have you heard this talking point, okay? Oh, wow. The left thinks there's racism here. We're one of the least racist countries on earth. Go anywhere else. Same thing with gender. They'll be like, you think America is sexist? Why don't you go check out Saudi Arabia, the country that my president and the presidents that I've always supported continue to support. They do this all the time. And there is an element of truth to this. Many of us, for those of us who live in America, are a little bit lucky in some ways. There are elements of this country that I like more than elements of other countries, and it's definitely better here than it is in Saudi Arabia. Not just for women, but I imagine for pretty much everyone, unless you're a Saudi prince, in which case it's probably great in both places. But first of all, recognizing that there are good parts of America is not mutually exclusive to criticizing the bad parts, and that seems to be where the conservatives get hung up. They can't do that. You can't criticize it. So when they say there are good things to America, which is true, they're not doing it to try to give you a sense of perspective. They're doing it to shut you up. And that's the key difference right there. What's good in America? Well, I like our freedom of speech, generally. I think we have a good set of policies on that, you know. I like our breadth of cultural values. America is very different depending on what part of it you're in. Some parts I like more, some parts I like less. But goddamn is this country diverse culturally, you know? Go to New Orleans, go to New York, you know? Go to Florida, like go all around. Every part of America, there are parts of America so different from one another, so distinct, that they honestly feel like different countries, which is amazing. I love that, you know? What else do I like? Well, there are parts of Florida that are okay. White America is a cultural desert. Well, that's the thing. Pretty much all good culture in America was brought to us by non-white people. No, in all seriousness, though, like, it's true though. really, white culture is mostly white culture to the extent that it exists. Seems to mostly be about power here in America, power over other people, which doesn't make for great culture, you know? Beverly Hills, the town that I grew up in, has a lot of white people there. It also has a lot of Persian Jews. They voted Republican because they're rich, by and large. But the rest of Los Angeles, pretty goddamn blue. And the rest of Los Angeles is where all the goddamn culture comes from, too. Anyway, we're getting a little bit sidetracked, but Italian food, German food. Oh yeah, no, the food is great. I'm sorry, I'm being a little bit overly simplistic for comedic effect here. I don't think that there's anything inherently worse with European cultures than from cultures all around the rest of the world. There are elements of them from food to music that I think are delightful. In fact, one of the things that I like most, this is one of my favorite channels. You've probably seen it before, but here. Called Baumgartner Restoration. I've talked about this on stream before, but I stand by this, okay? Baumgartner Restoration, he's a conservationalist, which means that he preserves old paintings, you know? And you know, a lot of these are like European paintings, or at least old American paintings, which means a lot of them came from European antiquity. And they're just so gorgeous. Here's the assassination of Archimedes.
Retouched and
there you go. Look at that. It's beautiful. There's a lot to appreciate here. The issue is that in America today, like presently here in America, and he like cleans it and stuff. It's a really, really nice channel. It's like ASMR, but there's educational elements. The main issue is that I feel like in America, the white people in this country, I feel like most of the cultural contributions they've made have mostly been making an effort to distance themselves from the cultural contributions of other ethnic groups. And initially, this referred to European ethnic groups as well, because it was, I believe, Benjamin Franklin who described the Germans as swarthy, of a different breed whose blood had already polluted the blood of America originally, because America was originally Anglo-Saxon. So, I mean, if you're at a point where the Germans are too swarthy for you, yeah, then same with the Italians, the Spaniards, everyone, Greeks. No, I'm not kidding. It was Ben Franklin. Yeah. I'm not kidding. This is what academics mean when they talk about whiteness. You've heard whiteness, right? I know a lot of conservatives get upset because they hear things like destroy whiteness, and they're like, they want to kill us, which is not true. And now, you can argue it's poorly named, but most academic terminology isn't really meant to survive public scrutiny from like grifty conservative pundits. Whiteness in academia refers to the underlying power structure, generally in America, though there's a global element as well, which exists to the exclusion of those who aren't considered white. So whiteness isn't white people. Whiteness isn't German bratwurst or whatever. Whiteness is going to Harlem, to go slumming in Harlem so you could learn their musical beats, so you can make them more appealing to the average, you know, consumer, and then resell them as white music. That's whiteness right there. Whiteness is more about a process of exclusion than it is a process of creation. But then people get confused because it's like, well, if you hate whiteness, that means you hate white people and blah, blah. But here's my hot take, okay? Are you ready for it? One of the, the most victimized group by whiteness is white people, except for every other group of people. Because we, like white people and white American culture, we deny ourselves so much shit because we're so fucking afraid of other stuff. We're so terrified. We just saw it in the last segment with the guys wearing a dress, even though men wearing dresses has been a thing in many other cultures throughout all of human history. We're terrified of change because we have a very specific set of values we want to uphold. What is American clothing? Denim jeans and cowboy hats? I'll take the variety, thanks. All right.
Thanksgiving is supposed to de-escalate any sort of pre-existing issues.
What?
In our country. And now they're using the virus as an excuse for you not to be thankful.
What?
We'll be right back.
Wait, is he saying that Thanksgiving contributes to some sort of detente? Like Thanksgiving lessens the crime rate? What is he talking about here? Oh, I see. He's complaining that people are saying because of COVID-19 you shouldn't travel to see your families. Guys, don't travel to see your families, okay? Unless you live with your families already or they're a hop, skip away and you already have come into contact with them. For God's sake, okay? Please, God, be safe, all right? If you think you can do it appropriately, then fine. But we're going through the highest COVID spike right now that this country has seen. We are, hold on. COVID-19 graph. Give me the cases. Where's that third wave? Third wave. Give me that shit. COVID-19 cases. America. Thank you. Why is it always so hard to find this one specific graph? Ah, here we go. There we go, baby. Google, doing me up. Check that out. This was our first wave. We were hitting like 30, 35,000 people a day. And then we were at the second wave, and that was real bad, like 70,000 people a day. And now, whoop, all the way up to 180,000 in a day. We are blowing our past records out of the water. My goodness. 11.4 million total cases in America, 250,000 deaths, which means that in spite of being about a fourth, sorry, not a fourth, 4% of the world's population, we're about a fifth of the total deaths. It's a disproportionate rate of like 5 to 6 times, which is phenomenal. We're about 1/5 of the total number of cases, meaning that we're about proportionally represented for deaths and cases elsewhere. America #1, baby. And it's all Missouri. What are you doing? Wisconsin? My God, the people up here. Washington's doing fine. Well, just stay safe, kids, okay? Look, I miss my family too. I wasn't able to see my family for last Thanksgiving either, but that was just more because of busy stuff. But yeah, do it if you can, because it's fun to be with your family. But if you can't do it safely, don't fucking do it, okay? Be safe, okay? You don't want you to get your parents sick, do you? Even if you guys are young enough to survive it, you want, you don't want to get your dear old grandmama sick, do you? They say they don't. They don't do it. They don't want to do it. Okay? Nice. Such a rambling, aimless segment. All right, people. Because I don't know how long I'll be able to go without the cough coming back up, I'm going to go right into the next segment, and then maybe we'll take a look at some donos, okay? The next segment is a little bit of a departure from what we normally talk about, but I hope you guys stick around for it, because I like it when my number count stays high. Thank you. It's not Hades. Chill. Oh, and if you're watching the stream and enjoying it, please do consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I'm always trying to get those big numbers. We are, what, 14 days out? 14 days out from the end of the month, which means that if I can just get around 900 subs a day, we're going to hit 300,000 by the end of the month. How phenomenal would that be? We began this year with less than 50,000. We'll have a month left to go in the year with 300,000. Extraordinary. Subscribe if you can. I'd really appreciate it. If you can't, or if you don't want to, fuck you. I don't care about you. And when the revolution comes, you will be the first ones to die. No, that's a joke, of course. Don't clip that. That's not true. We're all going to make it out, okay? We're all going to make it through. No. Stop. Don't. Okay. There's a question that I get really often. I'm here to answer it. People ask me, do you have any recommendations for making content? They ask me this all the time over the emails. I'm just going to do it here. I'm going to just talk about it right here, okay? So here's my suggestion, okay? Vaush's tips on making it big online, specifically with political content for left-leaning people. Because that's what people always ask me about. Nobody asked me how to get a fucking Roblox channel off the ground, okay? So here, hold on. We're going to try to make this interesting for everyone, okay? Everyone listen the fuck up. Okay. How did I end up getting big? Let's talk about me for a second, because I think it's important to contextualize things. I am insanely fucking lucky, okay? It took me 2 years to go from no presence whatsoever to one of the largest and most influential lefty voices online. That took me like no time at all. I'm built different. In all seriousness, though, what I am is very, very lucky. And I took advantage of a previous relationship that I had had, or I should say not a previous relationship, more like a previously established position. Because I was a fan of Destiny's community for a long time, and it was through his community that I got an initial boost in interest to my channel. When I first released a video, that channel of mine got a couple thousand subscribers right off the bat, just because they were like, oh, dude, Irish laddie finally made a video, ha 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 ha. Because I'd been on Destiny's stream a couple of times, and, you know, if I hadn't been, in all likelihood, you wouldn't be watching me right now, because there never would have been that initial impetus. And that's why, and I need to stress this very, very, very clearly, okay? I was super lucky. Luck is a huge component of success, especially in this shit with how algorithms work. And you should never, ever, 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 ever go into any online pursuit with the expectation of success, or with the excuse me, or with the expectation of like making money. Okay, only a fraction of people get to make it to that point. So please, God, just chill out. Okay, the first and most important thing that you need to know is how to network. Okay, I would not be able to do what I am doing right now were it not the fact that I took advantage of my presence on Destiny's stream beforehand. And I only got there because I was really fucking annoying to him on Skype back in like 2014 and bullied my way onto his stream a couple of times to argue with him nasally through my fucking Macintosh laptop microphone fucking 6 years ago, okay? Connections are extremely important, all right? But connections, that is to say, networking, are a kind of transactional process, okay? And I can tell you this because I know it bothers me when people ask me for shout-outs, you know? In large part because I get so many of them, and I have to be fair. I can't be like, well, today I feel like this, today I don't feel like that. So I try to say no to all of them unless I think there's some special reason to. If you want to take advantage of connections, what you're essentially doing, and let's be clear about this, you're exploiting a relationship, often to the detriment of the person that you're talking to. If there's a large Twitter account or large YouTuber who you know well enough that you can in some way take advantage of their platform, recognize the transactional nature of the relationship, okay? Don't lie to yourself and pretend that all the connections that you build are like these purely amicable, completely divorced from business relations sort of things. You should be upfront and recognize like your relationships are a form of capital that you're, using. That doesn't mean you can't be friends with people or you can't help people out, and that's totally fine, and people do that. But it does bother me a little bit, and I see this from a lot of content creators when they talk about how like all of their YouTube relationships are just like friendships, but then they still ask for like shout outs or whatever, or they still ask for collabs, or they still ask for this, or they still ask for that. You know what I mean? Like, let's all just be realistic, okay? If you want to create content online, what you're trying to do essentially is to start a business of some kind or some sort of endeavor which you desire either, profit or prominence from. And in either of those cases, other people are going to be essential. So just be respectful of other people's times and of other people's interests and of other people's resources when you're taking advantage of them. If you're going to be friends with other people, that's fine. I'll give you an example. Shoe on Head. Shoe on Head, great friends with Shoe. I'd like to believe so, at least. However, I recognize the fact that as a larger content creator, when Shoe on Head interacts with me, there is some sort of cross-contamination of viewership or of fandoms, and that I benefit from that. Nowadays, I'm big enough that I don't feel weird about it, but early on when I was talking to Shoe, I did feel a little weird asking her to come on my stream, Because she was a very large content creator, and I was at the time very small, and I stood to benefit quite a bit, whereas she stood to benefit pretty much not at all. And she went ahead with it anyway, and I'm happy she did, and we're friends now. But it's important to be cognizant of the fact that these relationships and dynamics exist, okay? It is important to do that. What about Natalie? Same with Natalie. Yeah, 100%. Same with Natalie. It's just how it goes. And networking is extremely important. If you know a large enough content creator, you can basically make a career just out of getting them to promote you all the time. But it's hard to do that and very few people are going to go out of their way to do that. So it might help you out if you're capable of building some kind of presence on your own, which is why here are my hot tips for making good-ass content, okay? Let me tell you what's in this season and out this season, okay? Out this season is obsessing constantly over what to make content about, okay? In this season is obsessing over how to make that content, okay? Listen, you are not big brain genius boy or girl or envy or whatever. You are not going to single-handedly invent some new theory, okay? You are not going to add to the conversation, to the discourse, something which has never been added before. Everything is derivative. Everything is a reflection of something that has come before it, okay? Unless you're some exceptionally talented, highly disposed towards academia individual, I sincerely doubt you're going to be contributing anything new. But you don't need to contribute anything new. Folks, when I talk to you on this stream, when I give you information, am I giving you, like, new analysis? Don't delude yourselves. I'm a good public speaker. I didn't invent the ideas that I share with you. I read other people's ideas. I read and I interpret and I analyze and I rephrase. That's 98% of what I do. Doesn't mean I don't have original thoughts, but all the original thoughts I've had still stem from a fundamental set of beliefs that I derived from other things I've read and learned. And this goes all the way back. You think Marx, like, just off the top of his head invented everything that he wrote? No, of course, there were theorists before him. Everything is derivative. Everything comes from something before it, okay? So don't focus on being some ultimate big brain clever clogs who invent some new idea or thing that you get to throw out there that's never been seen before, and instead focus on making things interesting to other people. That's what matters more than anything else. More than anything else, okay? If you want prominence, if you want money, and who doesn't, and if you want to contribute change to the world, you want people to pay attention to you, okay? What about Alden's number? Most of the absurdist or nonsensical jokes that I come up with stem from me watching Video Game Donkey. His style of humor is something that I find very applicable to political commentary. If you want to know where these things are derived from, I mean... Yeah, it's true. Make interesting content, okay? And I've said this a million times before, and I'll say it again. If you want to make interesting content, you need to think of something so specifically interesting that you would be willing to pay somebody else to see, okay? What content did I make? Well, what content do I like? I'll tell you, I liked Destiny back when I started this channel. I still watch Destiny stream from time to time. How does Destiny produce content? He live streams, and editors take segments of those live streams and put them out. Usually ones which involve debates or political content. And what do I do now? The same fucking thing. And the reason why I like that style of content is because I don't have a very good attention span. I can't focus on watching some poncy fucking gay video essay. I have a very hard time doing that. What I like to do is listen to shit while I do chores. I like to listen to stuff that has a very low level of visual engagement, a very high degree of audio engagement, and then I just listen to it while playing video games, or while doing chores, or while walking, or on the bus, or while driving, or anything like that. That's what I like to do. And because I like consuming media that way, I like to produce media that way. And now I do it, in my opinion, pretty much the best. With the content that I put out, I think I do a great job with that specific archetype of concentrated, political commentary that people can listen to while playing games or whatever. I think that I've taken this archetype of content, and I've refined it to the greatest degree I can. There are other people who will probably do a better job in the future. There are other people who can probably beat me, and that's fine. But I like how I do things. I see a lot of small content creators, and they're clearly not doing something they want to do. They're doing something they think they have to do because they've seen other bread tubers do the same thing, okay? I've seen all the Contra imitators. I've seen all the people who do dry rote British humor commentary scripts with reaction GIFs and in memes that they're hoping will catch on video after video. And for some of these, I think they're quite good. I think they're well produced. And for other ones, I think that they're very, very derivative. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with being derivative, on its own, a derivative work isn't very useful, and it's not very engaging either. How do you come up with stuff to talk about on the spot? A lifetime of talking nonstop. Some things just come with practice. There are video essayists out there, even very small ones, who get no more than a couple thousand views per video, or even hundreds, who I think make really, really great content. And I think there are ones who have larger channels and larger videos who make content that I think is just largely derivative. And I know that some of you, like some of you said Philosophy Tube or whatever, Philosophy Tube's work is not derivative, like at all. No, Philosophy Tube's work is uniquely interesting. I'm not throwing shade at anyone you know. I'm not throwing shade at anybody, because I think it's lovely that there are more and more people involving themselves in online video production, you know? I think that's fantastic. I just think that we should all do as best as we can. So, you want connections, and I'm not going to help you make friends, but you want connections, and you want to make interesting content, make stuff you like, and make stuff you believe other people would be willing to pay for. Now, of course, when you put stuff up on YouTube, nobody pays for it. Not at least without some sort of prompting. Speaking of, if you're enjoying the stream, please feel free to donate, subscribe. I love you, and I appreciate it very much. But you want it to be good enough people would be willing to pay for it anyway. And I know that people who watch me like my content enough to pay for it because they give me money when I ask them, or sometimes, actually quite often, when I don't ask them. And that is very important, because content online can be life-changing, okay? Content online can be resoundingly, personally impactful. Have you all have seen content creators like that, right? For some of you, it's me. For me, it's some other people. But everyone's been in that position where you watch some content. It can be a stream, YouTube video, whatever. You watch it, and there's this feeling that you get, like you can't wait to watch the next segment. And it resonates with you, and you start to question like previous assumptions or assertions that you've had. You think like, wow, well, it makes sense now, you know? ContraPoints has done that for me more than a few times. ContraPoints is very good at what she does, so it's not surprising to me that she would have that influence with other people as well. But you want to be able to provide that to other people. Funnily enough, it was Destiny for me. That's fine. Destiny produces good, valuable content sometimes. Yeah. Sean, yeah. Sean's videos, likewise. And there are plenty of smaller ones as well. The Shame and Opulence did it for me. Yeah. Those were phenomenal videos, yeah. I quite liked ContraPoint's video on cancel culture. You know why? Because I am probably the most canceled person in the online left. In fact, no, not probably. I absolutely am, objectively. I have easily surpassed ContraPoints with regards to the sheer amount of drama that I produce just by existing on this space. There is nobody on the left who even comes close to me. And for that reason, ContraPoint's making a video about cancel culture. Remember what she said? It was about abstracting the problem and then essentializing it. Remember that? You remember that little formula from ContraPoint's video? You abstract the thing the canceled person has done, and then you essentialize it. Still think about that sometimes to this day. Still think about that. Now, I can't be my own muse because I don't watch my videos. I make them. I don't watch anything, except for debates sometimes, that I've produced after the fact, because I live with me. But every once in a while, I have something to learn from content that I've produced in the past, and when I go over it, I think of ways to improve my delivery. I say a lot. That's not a big deal. Maybe a little annoying, but that's not like this big impactful thing. Another thing is I tend to get distracted a lot. That doesn't help me in debates. You have to focus on the central point. Work on that. Fix that. Go back to doing it. If you want to make content online, the connections are important. You want to make friends as quickly as possible. You want to produce content that resonates with you so it can resonate with other people. Don't copy other people, okay? But really think, what would people be interested in? Don't get locked too much in your own head. There are other things that I want to do with this channel, you know? There are other things that I would love to do. I would love to do a gigantic analysis of One Piece. You know how many of you would stick around to watch that? About a fifth of the current view count, at most. That doesn't mean that my analysis would be bad. I know the people who say you've read One Piece, so obviously you can see the people in chat, but there are 15,000 people watching, and of them, about 20 or 30 of them are typing right now. Fine, maybe you can go up to 100. Whatever the case may be. I know what the people who watch me want to see, and I have worked towards doing a better job of producing that which they're interested in. An additional point, make sure you get editors or critics, okay? Not to say people involved in the process of making the video, but people who you trust who criticize you. That is extremely important. If you go back and look at my videos from, let's see, shall we? My channel. Let's go way back. Sort by date added oldest. I've always wanted to live stream. The reason I didn't do it initially is because I didn't have the money to get the internet and the cam necessary to live stream. Which is why if we go back to my very earliest live stream recordings, you can see that I just had a picture.
All right, I'm going to scream coherently one thing.
Right down here in the bottom left of my glowing face, which is now the Vaush emote.
And then we're going
you just drove a distinction between the toxicity and the masculinity. You just said you can't solve the toxicity by removing the masculinity, and I agree with that. But now you're saying the toxicity is inherent to the masculinity. What?
My voice wasn't quite the same. I didn't speak the same way. Also, I got angry way faster. But what I realized was, if there were two aesthetics I could go down, which one would I prefer? The angry, nasally debate bro, who's right all the time, or the calm, somewhat more measured debate bro, who's still right all the time? I know which one I'd rather be, so I decided to work on being that. And the longer I did this, the more I moved in that direction. And I sounded less like Destiny, frankly. When we eventually have the cam here, look at these video lengths. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours.
No, wait. Achievements. Fucking white people, my dude. I saw some brown people. I swore in anger and sped out of the town as quickly as I could, never looking back. Holy shit. To anyone out there this fragile, please, I encourage you, look at a brown person until the rage blinds you, and then drive.
Can you tell how my voice has changed a little bit? The pattern continues the further on you go. There was a reason for that. It wasn't an accident. I would go back and I would watch my older videos and I would think, is there a better way I can convey this same information? Can I make it more interesting? Shorter videos, less meandering, better production quality. It's something I still think about. I plan to make changes in the very near future to the background that I have here, like change the lighting and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. Now, leaving me aside, you want people to criticize you effectively, okay? You want to get criticism from the right place. This is the problem. A lot of people, when they start doing online content, they are incredibly quick to accept criticism and reactively change their content according to it, but then they feel as though they no longer have any identity. Does that make sense to some of you? Like, they make these changes, and sometimes the changes are constructive, and sometimes the changes are detrimental. But because they whip around, constantly trying to adjust themselves to some ever-changing set of standards, they lose an identity. And the identity is very important. Why would I watch your videos? Why would I listen to your podcast if I could find something else that did it better? You know? Speaking of podcasts, I haven't talked much about those. Folks, podcasts are really tough to get into these days. Basically, everyone has a podcast. I'm not sure if I'd recommend it. Just as a business strategy, I don't know how much I would recommend podcasting. If you're interested in podcasting, that's fine and dandy, but maybe dip your toes into something like YouTube first. It doesn't hurt you to make a YouTube video. It doesn't cost you anything except for whatever resources you have to invest in the production. Maybe try that first, because I think that it'll give you a better space to experiment than you would get otherwise. What's the difference between streaming and podcasting? Well, usually the lines have blurred. Usually podcasting is done audio only. It's not done live. but it's done semi-scripted or entirely unscripted. Whereas streaming is usually completely unscripted, done and produced live, and it usually has a visual component as well. Would you suggest streaming even without viewers? Yeah, of course. You have to start getting viewers somewhere. Look, the real question is this, okay? Should you do live streaming or should you do just straight YouTube content, okay? Live streaming or straight YouTube content, okay? Well, when I first started, I did some straight YouTube content, and it felt a little awkward for me because I always wanted to stream, and I just didn't have the resources at first, and I made, like, some weird...
this on themselves.
I would always draw, like, a muscular me because I thought it was funny, because it'd be like the debate bro persona kind of thing, and then I just...
them leadingly and force them to answer uncomfortable questions. If they refuse to answer questions which would make them look bad, just keep asking them.
That's true. When you're debating somebody, keep doing it. And this was fun and fine, but as soon as I skipped over to streaming, I never looked back. What was the last produced video that I did? It was this one right here, and then it was just live streams from that point forward, and I never went back, because fuck that, dude. Live streaming is so much easier. But live streaming is easier for me because I can talk off the cuff really, really comfortably. There are plenty of people who can't. Some of you would much rather edit a script and then make something that's very deliberate and very brief and very, you know, perfunctory and very well produced. And that's just not me, okay? That's not me. I like just, yeah. But do what feels good to you. If you're live streaming, then your skills are going to come more down to your immediate personability and your public speaking skills. And if you want to do more prepared scripted content, then obviously a different set of skills are going to be necessary. But keep in mind, okay, and this is factually the case, live streaming is much more profitable than just producing YouTube stuff, okay? YouTube ad revenue doesn't start putting in jack shit until you're starting to get millions of views every single month. And even then, because this is political content, a lot of it is going to get demonetized. You can still get premium memberships, but again, if you're small, you're only going to get so much of that. Whereas if you're a small live streamer, 10, 20 viewers, you can sometimes, for a day of streaming, almost make like minimum wage, depending on where you are, you know? If you're streaming on YouTube or Twitch and you've got 30 people watching you and you get 2 $5 donations every single hour, one every 30 minutes, you're essentially you're basically making minimum wage, you know? And that's for a relatively minimal investment in your production and in your channel. So it really is up to you. That's one of the reasons, by the way, why all the big bread tubers who previously only did prepared content have now started doing live streams from Patreon. Have you noticed that? Just keep in mind that live streaming is also a much more demanding job. Like, significantly more demanding than just producing edited content. If you're a live streamer, you want a schedule. Schedules are extremely important. I don't really adhere to a schedule. It hampers me. I'm just built different. But you should have a schedule. You want a schedule. You want to prepare enough content that you can provide interesting commentary over the course of whatever live stream you plan on doing. You want to provide to people what they want. You know, it's very difficult being able to understand what people want when you're producing something. Can I give you an example? Here, I'll give you an example. By the way, for those of you who aren't interested in making your own content, I understand this segment doesn't hold quite as much for you, but it's something I get asked a lot, so I'm interested in giving my thoughts on. Hold on. Live streaming sounds great, but how do you do political talk to nobody? Because when you first start, there's very likely no one will watch. From the very, 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 very beginning, you need that initial burst of interest. The easiest way to do this is to go on other people's live streams and channels. Many people have formed careers from popping in on other people's content. Like me, Aiden Paladin, an alt-writer, also got her start from the notoriety she got from Talking with Destiny. There are other people who have done so from me. Mike from PA got his start constantly calling into the Majority Report. It's that getting that initial burst is important. If you can start holding down 5 to 10 people watching, then that can be an incredibly impactful base. Oh yeah, being nice in other people's chat and modding for them can help out as well. Streamers are always looking for good mods. But I'll give you an example for like My cat just knocked something over. I heard that. Godspeed, hyena, for cleaning that up. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. I'll give you an example for making stuff other people are interested in, okay? Here's the thing. If you make a piece of content, okay, you should not be looking at it from your own eyes. You should be looking at it from the eyes of the imagined viewer. What high points are there that you can look at and think other people will find this interesting? What low points do you think won't hold the interest of other people? There's nothing wrong, especially early on, with copying other people's styles to an extent. Other people got successful for a reason, you know. It's not like they just lucked into it completely. There is an underlying logic, and if you can adhere to that logic enough to understand what is worth copying, then you can learn a lot from that. Let me give you an example from an entirely different medium. Some of you know that I draw. Let me give you, here, hold on. My ambitions, art. Speaking of Hades, I drew Zagreus this one time, which I thought was quite nice. I draw everything traditionally. I draw it with pen and paper, and then I take a picture of it, usually with my phone, because I don't have a scanner set up. And then I put it on my computer, and I up the contrast until the blacks and the whites are distinct, and then I color it. And it's a whole process, but that's Zagreus. Now, if you can see here, there's something done here that I've never done to any other piece of art. And it's that some of the line work has been made green or purple or red or what have you. And the reason why I did that is because that is what the lead artist for the game Hades, which this is based off of, also did. Let me see if I can find an appropriate screenshot here. There we go. If you take a look at this, you can see that at certain key points, such as the highlight for the hair right here, the backlight right here, the lighting for some of the skulls that adorn his left shoulder, the knuckles here on his left hand back here, there are purple and green highlights. Now, I'd never done that before, and while I think it looks quite pretty, I don't really have enough of an understanding of color theory to really apply it independently. So I copied it, and I learned a lot from the process of copying it. It's not the first time or the last time I've done something like that. For those of you who didn't see, hold on. I'd love to watch you draw on stream. That's great. Most other people wouldn't, though. For those of you who have read Fire Punch, who here has read Fire Punch? It's a manga. It's good. Very edgy. Whatever. Anyway, that's all fine and dandy. The main character in Fire Punch is on fire. See? Makes sense, right? The mangaka for Fire Punch did an excellent job of rendering the in ink, which I really respect. I love ink. In rendering in ink how the muscle and bone and what have you would look underneath the fire. That is to say, if you can see the bottom of this hand being lifted here, there's no distinct line which discerns it from the fire behind him. It's just the cross-hatching indicates depth, but it doesn't actually directly line it. And I thought that looked quite nice. So when I did a drawing for a D&D campaign just the other day, for a man who's also on fire, I attempted to imitate that cross-hatching for the portions of the skin that were exposed. Now, obviously, I'm no legendary mangaka, so I'm not capable of adhering to it with the same degree of precision, but the point is that by attempting it, I learned something about the talent of the person who originally attempted it. And that's incredibly important. In fact, I would go so far as to say that if you're talking about illustration or music, the act of impersonating other artists is one of the most critical initial steps in getting better yourself. If you can get better at doing what other people have gotten good at, you can learn enough about their processes to expand your own. This is one of the first lessons that I was taught with drawing. It's because when you first start drawing, your anatomy is terrible. When you draw a human body, your anatomy is absolute dog shit. You'll draw whatever. The arms will be all lanky, and there'll be 5 elbows or whatever. And here's what happens every time. Somebody else, a real artist, will come up and they'll say, okay, there are some issues. And then you'll say, and here's the clever part. Here's your clever clog's response. You'll say, well, I've seen plenty of art. I'm just stylizing the human body. Every bad artist's response to their eyes being misproportioned, their facial features being misproportioned, their neck not connecting to their shoulders appropriately, their collarbones abruptly ending in the wrong part, Every single bad artist says that. And you know why? Because it's an excuse. But the response to that excuse is this. It's, you don't get to stylize the human body until you know how to draw it properly. That's not your style. That's your ineptitude. You learn to do it properly, and then you can break it. You can't break anatomy until you've learned to do it properly. It's the same in every other type of art. For architecture, you don't get to make fucking Frank Lloyd Wright fucking modernist palaces until you can build a barn, okay? Fact of the matter. You don't get to move forward until you start with the basics. Now, you don't have to do it perfect or do it forever or whatever, but you need to understand the basics before you can attempt to deviate from them. And the same fucking thing goes for producing online content. 100%. It goes exactly the same way. You can't make some bold, passionate, expressive piece of video essay. You can't be the big, edgy debate bro streamer until you're capable of adhering to the basics, okay? And very often the basics is copying other people. And that's fine, as long as you're doing it to learn, okay? Don't do it because it's popular. Do it because you want to learn how it became popular. Can you doodle something for them? No, I'm not going to put myself in the spot like that. Besides, what with my mouse on my keyboard? I can't draw something particularly well with my mouse, not even after all this time. Though I will say I'm better with mouse drawings than just a paint doodle. Wait, sure? It's a mouse drawing. With all the skill in the world, I couldn't possibly come even close to what I'm capable of doing with a fucking actual pen. Don't I always draw myself? I feel like I always draw myself here. Didn't have to use to draw the keloids, but the interests of there you go. I think that's pretty recognizably me, give or take a couple of sharp beard protrusions. I want to give some more specific pieces of advice, if I may, with regards to the technicalities of different setups, okay? If you are producing video essays, you don't need very much except for a good microphone. And that microphone is important. Now, for me, the microphone that I was given for free by a very generous fan, very early on, was a Blue Yeti silver microphone. But it doesn't have to be silver, it can be black. And that's a great starter microphone. Phenomenal starter microphone. You also don't need a mixer to go along with it. I still have that microphone because it's, you know, it's special to me. But yes, a Blue Yeti, phenomenal starter microphone, okay? If you want to live stream as well, you're going to need a little bit more. You're going to need a webcam. Now, most webcams, this is a little bit more technical stuff, okay? I think I started with the C950 Logitech. Was it the 950? BCC 950? Is this? No, not that. It's the C90? C90 Logitech? C920. Was it the C920? I think it was the C920. Here you go. This certainly looks familiar. Look at that. This is what I started with. What most people traditionally call webcams are, well, these. Essentially, that you just plug them into a USB, you know, slot, and you use this little clamp thing to attach them to the top of your laptop or your speaker, or whatever. You can get a mount for them. And then there you go. You've got video. Not great video, mind you, at all. Now, most webcams don't have depth of field. This is depth of field. I'm in focus. That's blurred. Come on now. Focus, blur, focus. That is the depth of field to which I refer. Now, webcams don't have that. A camera like this doesn't have that. All it does is it records all. In fact, you can see if I go back to one of my earlier videos, back when I was using that exact camera. Oldest. What's a good video to? Here you go. Okay, now get me a section where I am full screened, please. There you go. My God, how long it's been. If you can see carefully, my face is exactly as in focus as the shit that I have on my desk and printer behind me. Do you see that? Completely identical. Yes, our cummy wall. Yes, of course. Back in the day. Back before the YouTube money started to roll in. It's all equally in focus. Now, if we go back a little less far, we see my Brio. This wouldn't have been my Brio, right? Ah, yes, this is my agonizing 8-hour computer build stream. Look at that.
Basically, to get to the top.
Very good at building computers, that. Anyway, if we go forward in time, we arrive at the point where I'm using a Brio. That would have been...
But I say, no, this is what I'm saying, that...
Yep. The background is in focus here. This is a Brio, okay? This is a 4K webcam. To my knowledge, it's the best webcam that you can get that still is properly a webcam. You see? The background is still in focus. You can see the light switch over here. And I look fine, even though my camera position is pretty terrible here.
That way, and frame...
Man, I'm really just looking directly at chat. Like, this is a horrible frame. Yeah. The Brio's like $250 though, right? Yes, the Brio I think is $300. Here it is. The Brio. Yeah, it's around $250, $300. The Brio is about the best camera that you're going to get. Oh yeah, look, you last purchased this item on June 16, 2019. Look at that. Haha! Yay, back in the day. Anyway, this is about as good as you're going to get from a proper webcam. Yeah, classic side view Vaush. Now, that's totally fine. In fact, if you've seen streams of Conyer, of my roommate Conyer, you will see that they're using I don't even think they're using a Brio. They're using a webcam, okay? But if you want proper depth of field, which is what I and a lot of other people have, Destiny also has it, though his camera's better than mine, you need a lot more equipment. You need a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. You need you need a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. You need a capture card, and you need to port it in through 2 places. You need like the battery, the dummy battery, and you need the... It's a whole process, and if it's really, really interesting to you people, I can describe what I do. Essentially, what I have is a Sony a6400 camera with a... Well, I have a new lens coming in, so I don't even remember the one that I'm currently using. But there's a dummy battery, that is to say, a fake battery that plugs directly into it that has a charging cable that runs to an outlet. And in addition, there are 2 ports that come out of it. Or is it just 1 port these days? No, just the 1 port. And it's a cable that runs over to a capture card, and then the capture card runs into the computer. And fantastic, you know? And that's the whole damn thing. As for the microphone that I'm currently using, I have an AT-AT Audio Technica, AT-AT40 Audio Technica, I think. And a, this is all stuff that I should probably just type up, shouldn't I? Yeah, Audio Technica is pretty good. Also, I use a broken fucking microphone mount. Yeah. I use a broken microphone mount that's actually broken in the exact way that I want it to be. So I really have nothing to complain about there. How powerful should my PC be? Your PC doesn't really need to be very powerful at all to stream, but if you want to stream while playing video games, then you're probably either going to want 2 separate computers, or you're going to want 1 single extremely good computer. What kind of capture card is it? It's the HD60S Plus, I think, the Elgato HD60S Plus. Why do you use a $5 keyboard and a Logitech controller? Because I fucking can. Because I'm capable of it. Stay mad. Because I'm very frugal, okay? Do you think people would take me seriously as a political VTuber? KEKW? I have no idea, comrade. That's up to you. What lens do you use now? I don't fucking know. What is it? A shitty one. We'll get a new one soon, okay? All right. This is normally something I don't do with my segments, but I'm not exactly a fucking educator on this subject. So, chat, ask questions. What kind of GPU do you have? 2080 Ti. Do you think it's viable to stream without a webcam? It's possible you're going to get less engagement, okay? Definitely. Any videos on how you got good at debates? Yep, I have Rhetoric 101 and the like that help me out. Also, all of my debate videos are helpful. What audio interface do you use? I don't know what you mean by audio interface. Did you make your GG in Reddit? I made my Reddit. The GG was made by White Nervosa. Will I ever update my earphones? Ask questions about how to do this shit. Is there a point to give up? Give up when you want to. But, I mean, don't give up too easily. When are you building a new computer? Whenever I goddamn want to. Will I ever get a real desk? No. What's the box you plug your mic into? It's the, something from Focusrite. It's been a while since I bought that thing. Scarlett Solo. Yeah, there we go. Scarlett Solo Focusrite. There you go. Is Twitch worth it, or should one try YouTube for political content? Dude, I don't know about Twitch anymore. Twitch is like really scary now. With how aggressively they're pursuing like DMCAs and all that shit. With how willing they are to like ban people for minor infractions. Even like Destiny and other content creators on Twitch have been talking about this lately. Twitch, I don't know if Twitch is a good space for political commentary. And YouTube streaming is taking up a little bit more. No, excuse me. You can dual stream though, right? Yes, you can dual stream. Though if you get a contract with Twitch as a partner, you can no longer do that. How does the donation backend work on the site? I have no fucking idea. What's the difference between a webcam and a camera that comes with a laptop? Laptop cameras are always dog shit. They are always dog shit. How do you get more than like 10 viewers? I've been hard stuck for years now. Networking. You have to make other communities aware of your presence. If it's dangerous for you to be recognized, then you probably shouldn't live stream with a camera, period. How much would startup cost to initial investment be? That depends on whether or not you have a computer capable of handling streaming. If you already do, then you just need the audio and the video equipment, which you can probably get together for $250. It's up to you, Comrade Yamana. How do you network with a live streamer? Usually you just participate in their chat, ask to come on, talk, debate. It takes time. There's no shortcut or secret to networking, you know? It is a very specific process. And if you attempt to rush it, other people will accuse you of being overly cynical and transactional. So probably shouldn't do that. We probably talked enough about this. Yeah. How do you get a White Nervosa site? Well, I'm not the person you'd ask about that, right? What editing software do you recommend? I just have Adobe Premiere. Do you have any thoughts about safety, branding, or harassment? Yeah, if you want to deal with regards to safety, as long as nobody ever knows your real name, nothing can ever happen to you. Your real name is the foundation upon which all forms of like threats to your safety can possibly come, unless you're recognizable enough that you could be, you know, attacked based on that. And if your real name is known, then just make sure that you can't be doxxed, which basically means that you have to go back through every single one of your accounts that could ever be attached to any of your email addresses and making sure there's no compromising info there. There usually is. Which is one of the reasons why sometimes people, like lefties online, will get doxxed after they get like harassed by the alt-right. Because they follow an email account over to a Reddit account, and 7 years ago there's a Reddit account post about something somewhere, and they track and so on and so forth. You have to be very, very careful about stuff like that. But that's something you can take care of before you become a public figure. You can fix that before you become a public figure. You can do that, yeah. With regards to branding, I don't really fucking know. I don't do a very good job of branding. And for harassment, if you're an online public figure, harassment is basically a guarantee. Here's my personal recommendation. Let it run off your shoulder, okay? I know this is like a forehead, just ignore the cyberbullying take, but, like, it's still true. Like, listen, I get a lot of harassment. Like, an unfathomable amount. I'm sure you guys understand. Like, you guys, I don't need to like sell you on that, right? I get a huge amount of harassment. So here's what I do, okay? Just fucking block people. Just block. Just block or don't look. Don't name search, by the way. Shu taught me that. Don't ever name search, okay? Don't name search. Block people who bother you. Who cares? Why do you need to engage with these people? Who the fuck cares? Doesn't matter. Utterly irrelevant. Or read comments? Don't. Why read comments if they make you sad? What is name searching? Name searching is what unintelligent people do if they want to make themselves sad, if they're a public figure, okay? It's a low IQ move. What do you mean don't name search? Don't look up your own name on Twitter if you're a public figure, okay? Don't Google to see what other people have to say about you. Minimum internet speed? Well, I stream at 8 kilobytes per second. Kilobits, I forget which. Most decent internet connection should handle you, but some places like Comcast are going to have you in trouble even if you have a sufficient amount, because they're terrible, you know? Do you own any guns? Yes. Kilobits? Kilobits, okay, not bytes. I don't care. What are the best times to stream at? Probably late enough that people are back home from work, but if you catch it early enough in the day, Europeans can show up as well. Are you sure it's 8 KB? I mean, I can see my monitor right here. I think you mean megabits per second? No, it'd be 8 megabits, so 8 megabits, sorry. 8,000 kilobits, 8 megabits or bytes or whatever. Yeah. How do people play audio without using headphones? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. How do you initiate networking with zero networks? You start participating in other people's communities. Oh, probably soon, Hyena. Probably soon. Do you think being honest about past missteps is a good thing? Yeah, of course. Is there any suggested clothing stuff? Like, do you have to be professional or anything? No, it's totally up to you. I mean, you can't show tits or whatever on Twitch. On YouTube, you can do pretty much anything you want. On YouTube, like, you can fucking stream in a Borat thong, I'm pretty sure. Not sure if that's, like, a great recommendation, but it's a thing you can do if you really, really want to. How not to be derivative? Well, like I said, being derivative initially as a process of learning or introspection can be important, but long term you want to focus more on things that better reflect what you believe other people would be interested in. Yeah, Shillenhead, I agree. You absolutely, absolutely do not want to jump into streaming or making YouTube content immediately to make money. It's not going to work, okay? It's not going to work. Also, Maximilk, thank you so much. Look, it's Pippin. 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 Ugly baby. Is self-posting to Reddit subs cringe? A little bit, but what matters to you more, being cringe or being like famous and successful? It's pretty much up to you. Initially, I self-posted a couple of times. Of course, I don't have to anymore, but how important is your username? You want to catch a username. You want something that here's the one fucking requirement, okay? No, the two requirements. Your name, your brand name, can't be too long, and it should be spellable just based on its pronunciation. You never, ever, ever, ever want to have a name where it's difficult to search. You also want names. You also want names that aren't generic enough that you couldn't search them yourself. Like, for example, Vaush. ContraPoints. You search these two things, they'll only bring up content for me or for Natalie, and that's it. Memorable, easy to spell, easy to say. Well, I guess Vaush, everyone struggles with that, but if you take a look at Google Trends for Vaush or whatever, you're not going to see many results. So I assume that's mostly a pronunciation thing. Exactly. Hyena's proper streaming name is Verminhands, because nothing else will pull up those results. Now you have names like, however, Sean, Philosophy Tube, especially Sean. Like, you could just, you type Sean, like that's just a name, you know? 3 Arrows, same. The more Destiny. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying these are bad names for like being a YouTuber. I'm just saying for branding purposes. H-Bomber Guy is good. H-Bomber Guy is, that's that, you know? Shoe on Head, that's good. Poncy as it is, Sargon of Akkad, that's good. Yeah. Anyway, I know I can ramble on about this forever, but these are my general pieces of advice, okay? If I make this too long, nobody's gonna fucking watch it anyway. Look, just, if you want to make content, okay, chill the fuck out. Don't be weird. Don't go into it for immediate fame and glory and fortune, okay? Don't go into it to copy other people. Go into it because you are earnest and sincere in your desire to make some good-ass content that you want to share with the world. Also, go in with a goal, by the way. I went into this specifically because I wanted to fix certain parts of the online left. That was day one for me. I got into this knowing what I wanted to do. I didn't just think, oh, I want to stream, you know. I went in here thinking, I want to make the online left more like me. More pragmatic, more edgy. That's what I want. I've succeeded in some respects. So go in it with a goal. Ah, yes, by networking in community, I mean like engage with their Discord, donate, talk nicely in their stream chat, mod for them, you know, call in if you can, stuff like that. If you want to, as a live streamer, get some, you know, notoriety and stuff. And self-advertise a lot too. Spread that shit around, you know? How do I make banger tweets? Don't ask me, ask Shoe on Head. Ah, god damn it. I can already feel my cough coming back. But there are still donations from the other day that I need to go over. Damn it. I have to be careful about my talking. If my cough come back fully, it's going to set me back for a couple of days. Hold on. Yeah, I know if I end up reading all these donos, it's going to end up sending me into a coughing fit again. Unfortunately, at this point, having had a habitual cough for a large portion of my life, I know when I'm at a point where if I continue to talk, it's going to be an issue. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow. Every donation that I missed, I'm still going to get to, okay? We're going to get to it eventually. If my donos really get backed up, I'll make a separate unlisted stream where I read out all the donations, and then I'll upload that. Or not upload it. I'll save that. Anyway, my apologies. I know I've been a little bit backed up on the donos lately, but it's nothing personal, okay? And now it's going to sound like I'm overselling the cough because now I'm talking about it, but I know the reason why. Anyway, I love you all very much. I'm sorry for the weird stream timing. I'm just trying to protect my throat because I know that once my throat's fine, it's going to be fine for 6 more months, you know? It's not COVID-19. I've gotten this plenty of times before. Unfortunately, I'm just very susceptible to coughing due to a throat and lung issue that I had when I was younger. So we'll fix it soon. Stay well, people. I know it was, yeah, stay well.